back. Yes, we are. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's hit that like button, folks. We appreciate it. We are Sports Day. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network had some great guests. Really, the last few weeks, we always do. But today as well, if you miss any of it, just go to jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. You can check out any of our interviews, the show in its entirety, snippets, pieces, whatever is convenient for you. You like the little bite size, go for it. It's all there. That's for sure. All right, guys. So the 2023 upcoming NFL draft. Here's what the Eagles have as of right now. They have 2 first-round picks, number 10, which they got from the Saints, number 30, which is their own. They finished, behind, obviously, the Chiefs. Second round, 62 overall. Third round, 94. So in the top 3 rounds, they have 4 picks, 10, 30, 62, 94. Then they don't have anything in the 4th, 5th, or 6th. You jump to the 7th, and they have 2 7s, 221 and 250. Now, if I know Howie, I'm guessing there will be a 4th, a 5th sprinkled in there, would be my best guess. But that's where things stand right now, guys. With that 10th pick, you can do a lot of different things. You can dangle it in front of teams desperate to get up and get a quarterback, or teams that maybe, you're sitting there we're at 8 or we're at 7, and some team desperately needs X position. And they see you sitting there. They may say, hey, can I get up, and get there? Come on, what are you offering? So I think 10 could very well be in flux. It could be moved. 30 could be moved. You could get in the second round. It's easier financially for you to move down a little bit if there's somebody that you love in the second round. There's a lot of different things you can do here, guys. But if I said priority uno, D-Gun, what is it for you?
I would say you have to hold on to that number 10 pick and get an impact player on defense, because I think you're going to lose a lot of quality players, because even though the season did not end the way they wanted it to, there's a lot of teams out there, especially teams trying to build in the right direction, that are salivating at picking off some of the Eagles' defensive players, and they're going to price themselves out of the Eagles' market. So I think that 10th pick, whether it's a D tackle, another edge rusher, linebacker, let's take linebacker out of the equation. Cornerback is going to have to be somebody you can plug and play right now. I would dangle that 30th pick, because I don't think Howie's going to stand pat not being able to pick from the 3rd to the 7th round. And we don't know, are they up for any compensatory picks this year? That may help them make some decisions too. If they get a 3rd or 4th round pick somewhere, they may hold on to both first-round picks, but I think that 30th pick is the best pick to dangle in terms of getting multiple picks, moving down and getting multiple picks in the middle part of the draft.
How about you, Bear?
I think they have to keep the pick also. They have to go somewhere on the defensive side of the ball. All things being equal, I think cornerback position is something they must address. And the first 2 positions I would address would be cornerback, second being rusher, rush end. I would love a guy like Will Anderson, but of course, we won't be able to sniff him. I would like somebody like maybe Miles Murphy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's a defensive end from Cleveland, from Clemson.
Yep.
I would want a cornerback. I don't know at this point who the best cornerbacks are. I got to do my research. I haven't looked at a lot of film.
A lot of people in the chat love this guy. I love him too. Joey Porter Jr.
That's my boy. I remember him as a young buck. You know what I'm saying? Very good, tall. Reminds me a lot of a guy like, I don't know if you guys remember Snoop from Washington. But he's like he's a slender, very aggressive guy. Plays well out in space. I would like him. You remember Joey, Peasy's my boy. I wouldn't mind getting him at all. But I mean, as for corners, I do like them. They got a guy from Oregon. I usually don't like corners or anybody really from the West Coast, as far as the Pac-12. I don't like those type of players. So I don't think they play enough defense. But they do have a guy, Gonzalez from Oregon. It's pretty good, pretty good corner. He'll be sitting there. But I mean, I think cornerback or I think you'll get more bang for your buck with a corner as opposed to getting a defensive lineman. But we all know how they are. they're going to go with a D lineman. We know that for sure. At least one of the two picks.
And that's the hard thing to judge because you might need a tackle. You might need an edge rusher, depending on how this thing goes. Can you pass up a corner that you love that much sitting there at 10? I don't know. I mean, I think they would consider it, but yeah, is it more likely they go defensive line? Yeah, their belief is it's all about edge rushers. It's all about your interior. It's all about your tackles on the offensive side of the ball. They're not afraid, obviously, to draft wide receivers in the first round. That much is clear. But they're usually the areas they prioritize, and then they get to the other, spots, positions, if you will, later in the second round. But they also know, as of right now, once you get past 10 and 30, I mean, maybe having 2 in the first round gives you more flexibility, to do things a little bit differently high in the draft. Maybe. I don't know. Possibility.
There's a guy, Devin Witherspoon also.
Yeah, I like that kid from Illinois.
Illinois, yeah. He's 6 foot, 180. He has some decent size on him. Very aggressive, man.
You got to have, when you play corner in today's game, you got to have that certain swag. You got to have that mental swag about you. This kid, when he steps on the football field, he's all about his business, and he'll let you know about it. And that's the kind of young player you want. Sometimes young players have a little fear factor they have to overcome when they're making that transition from the college ranks to the pros.
Not Witherspoon.
Not this dude. I don't know who coached him up, but this dude, I've watched him play 3 times this year.
Lovey's guy.
Is it? Yeah. You're right. And
Derek, he's not going to be there.
I know, man. I don't know, man.
He's going to be a top 5, top 6
You
pick.
think so?
Yeah.
Well, see, we've identified. Okay, so there's 9 picks ahead of the Eagles as we sit right now.
Mm-hmm.
We know at least 2 quarterbacks are going to go in the first 9. We've talked about there's a couple of edge rushers that could go in that first 9, so that's 4.
And then it's 2 defensive linemen too.
And 2 defensive linemen, okay. And then we've talked about the kid Joey Porter, okay. So that's 5. So you got a shot of him being there at number 10. I agree with you. The prospects are slim, but he's sitting there at number 10. And if you can't sign Bradbury to come back here, I got to jump. I'm not saying he may be the next Sauce Gardner, but he might be really good that you feel good about. Kids you can put in and say, okay, you're going to learn, you're going to get your lumps. You're going to get beat. You're going to have to learn what to read across the line of scrimmage from you. But he's the kind of kid, he's not afraid to compete.
Yeah.
See, that's what you want. It's got to be mental first before physical.
And that's where I think the success of Gardner maybe changes your mind a little bit. Maybe.
Yes, it does.
What you do philosophically.
It does. You're absolutely right. And you saying that, Rob, maybe we do have to change our way of thinking because, Devin Witherspoon will be a really good corner, but he's going to be a top 5, top 6 pick.
Right.
While we jump up and get him, what assets do we have? We already traded enough. I'm feeling for.
Well, that's interesting, Barrett, because we always talk about trading down.
Yep.
10's a pretty enviable position to maybe get up a couple spots too. Yes. I know you don't want to be giving more up, but maybe that's what happens. It's not out of the question.
We have a lot, but see, we only have 6 picks. 6
I know.
Picks.
I know.
So do we give up? I don't know if we give up one of those. Yeah. We have how many? We have 1, 2, 2 3s.
You have 2 1s, a 2, a 3, and 2 7s is what you have.
2 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
We don't have enough.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. But just a thought. All right, so let's not just gloss over the season that Jalen Hurts had here, and the Super Bowl that he had. No, well, Marshall says we're forgetting about Milton Williams. Thanks, Marshall. No, I don't think so, man. I think Milton Williams is going to play a big role. The question I have is when he's counted on it, not every down, but virtually every down, what's he going to look like? Because I like Milton Williams, actually.
I think he's going to do well.
Yeah.
I think if we look at let me look at their defense, and I'm taking into account everybody that's going to be gone. I see him penciling as a starter.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Right now, I see Milton Williams. And
it depends. Is Hargrave coming back? I don't think Fletcher's back, but if Fletcher were to come back, I think it's just hard to lock anything in right now.
Here's what I say, and this is no disrespect to Fletcher, but Fletcher is not that Pro Bowl dude. He's not that dominant dude he was.
Yeah.
And that's because age catches up to you. Okay.
I agree.
But if you put Milton Williams in there, I don't think he'll play any worse than Fletcher played this past season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not by any way, shape, or form a knock against Fletcher. I have a lot of respect.
In his career.
It's just what he is. You're getting younger with a guy on a rookie contract who can give you what Fletcher gave you in 2022. So that you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
That takes care of filling that void. Now you've got to fill the gap behind him if you want to keep a deep rotation.
Mm-hmm.
How you're going to do that remains to be seen, whether it's the draft or low tier free agent. But I think Milton will fill that gap for them. But when you lose both Hargrave and Milton, and we still have major question marks about Jordan Davis, it's a bit of a risk. It is. But every team goes through this. You have to go through this to find out what you have. And we were salivating, and we've been salivating since last April, since they picked Jordan Davis, about this dude being a mobile home on two legs with a lateral speed and agility. Well, we didn't really get to see it much this year. So there's still a lot of question marks about him. But you drafted him in the first round. You got to throw him in the fire sooner or later.
He's starting next year. And I don't even say this as a knock. Some of it isn't his fault. They had a lot of depth at the position. They added depth at the position. He got hurt. But I just don't know. I think he looks like a guy who's great at as we talked about earlier, occupying a couple blockers and stuff to run and all that. But
I told you what he got to do, though.
To become a superstar, you got to have some impact in the pass game.
I told you what he got to do. What he got to do, man?
Oh, you got to get him down to pimp size?
You got to get him pimp size. You get him pimp size, he can go, man. You got to get him to
– Come on, man.
Well, what's pimp size for him?
Pimp size for him, like maybe 310, 320.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know what?
320.
I agree.
You won't be able to stop him. I mean, you look at a guy like Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith started out like that. Then all of a sudden, he got him on that treadmill, that elliptical. He used to be on elliptical for 2 hours. An hour and a half, 2 hours every day till he lost all that weight. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, once he gets the baby fat off him and he gets pimp size, he'd probably be unstoppable. Because Derek, I'm trying to be serious and you're laughing. You ain't worth 2 dead flies, man.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, God.
You ain't worth 2 dead flies.
I agree with you 100%, but I haven't heard that term in a long time, man. You brought it up yesterday. I even got off the show giggling. I can't believe man came on with pimp size. One guy in the trenches on defense we didn't even talk about. Somebody just mentioned it a few moments ago in the chat. Derek Barnett's coming back next year.
I don't know.
Look at Rob's face. He's coming back. He's coming back.
Maybe. I don't know. What is? We know what this is. It's more penalties than impactful plays. That's what it is.
Well, maybe he's learned.
Rob, he's seen the light.
I'm not counting on it, but maybe. Yeah, maybe. That doesn't excite me. Like we were talking about things that I was excited about. I'm not excited about. When you bring up Derek Barnett's name, it doesn't do anything for me. I got to tell you. But yeah, we'll end up seeing. All right, Hurts. This was an amazing stat. I saw this on Ruben Frank had this, NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com. First player with 300 plus passing yards, 70 plus rushing yards, 70 plus completion percentage, and rushed for 3 touchdowns. That's the first time that's happened. Not just Super Bowl, it's the first time it's happened. So that's pretty good. Pretty rarefied air. He and we came into that game with a lot of question marks about how he was going to be able to throw the ball because we hadn't seen the best of Jalen in those 2 playoff games. Some of that was just by design. He didn't need to throw a lot. The Eagles were running all over those teams, et cetera. And then he goes out there on the grandest of stages and delivers. Now, he just furthered how much he was going to get paid. But I think it did a lot to alleviate any concerns of what he was as a passer. I think you can safely go into next year saying the Eagles have a stud at quarterback. And that's
yes.
Think about how many teams are dying to say that in that league. There's only a handful of them.
Yes. That dude is dropping dimes. Okay. I mean, he's dropping over coverage, in between coverage.
Yeah.
He's
done all the stuff we said he couldn't do.
You were
worried about. Yeah.
He's dropping dimes. Dude went out and worked his backside off.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. So when we talked about when I was talking about, I wasn't talking about necessarily Patrick Mahomes the entire season. I'm talking about in that game. He played just as good as Patrick Mahomes, if not better than Patrick Mahomes. If it weren't for that one play, they probably would have won the game. That one play led to a touchdown.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, if my aunt had a, you know, she'd be my uncle. You know what I'm saying?
If she had a what?
I didn't say what. I might have said mustache. See, look at you. You look terrible, D-Gun. You're terrible, D-Gun. Eric, people see what I'm dealing with.
Hey, you brought it up. I didn't. I just wanted you to fill in the blank. You brought it up.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, but seriously, you know, Jalen Hurts, man, is the new age quarterback. He has made dual threat kind of trendy now. It's vogue now. And I'm gonna see a lot of teams go out there. I mean, it started with the, you know, not necessarily with Michael Vick, because Michael Vick used more so talent than really reading the defense. But Jalen is reading defenses. He's figuring out what teams are trying to do to him with the blitz. He's becoming a guy that you can trust to get him out of trouble and you know what I'm saying, change plays and stuff. I think he lacked that. They didn't give him the opportunity, or they didn't give him what he needed when they started with the blitz to pick that blitz up, or at least to run pass patterns to help him with the blitz.
Right.
That's what killed him, man. You know, you can't be going with these deep routes when they're blitzing somebody. That means you're going to leave one free. And I know why they didn't, because they say, all right, Jalen Hurts is a good enough quarterback that he can evade that last defender, which happens to be a defensive end. He can outrun the defensive end. But it just so happens those guys that the Chiefs had were fast enough to get him out of his pocket, you know, fast enough to, you know, run him down on the sideline. You know, but you just didn't give an opportunity. When they did have when the wide receivers did see it and they broke their routes off and ran slants and stops and stuff, he was able to deliver the ball. But it has to come with everybody being on the same page, and everybody wasn't on the same page this last game.
Yeah.
My only concern with Jalen Hurts is I don't want him to end up being the next Lamar Jackson, the next RG3. When you're a quarterback and you're asked to put your body on the line as much as he has been, you're always more susceptible to getting injured. And we saw it in the latter part of this season. Mulatto talked about having to help him up. Jalen said, get me to bleep up off this field. Yeah. Okay. You look at the shots that he took in games after that. One direct shot to the chest on a run when he was about to sit down and boom, got hit in the chest. The one the 49ers got him in his back, you know, speared him in the back. You know, I think it just knocked the wind out of him, but you saw him grimacing when he got up in that regard. You know, Jalen Hurts is a phenomenal athlete, but he's an athlete to be an athletic quarterback more so than a pocket passer, so on and so forth. He can do any and everything you ask him to do, but as he gets older, the more shots he takes, a little bit longer it takes for you to recover from those things. And I just don't want to see his overall athleticism that we applaud and wow now be a detriment to him somewhere down the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's get a timeout, and we're going to come back. We'll do some NFL talk. We got Amy Fadul joining us at 2:00 to talk some Sixers as they embark on their final game before the All-Star break. But we'll come back. We'll dig into a bunch of stuff. Derek Carr status, Dalvin Cook, Dan Orlovsky, Eric Bieniemy maybe changing addresses. 5 things we learned this past NFL season. Got a bunch to dive into. We'll do all of that with you when we come back. Don't go anywhere. D Gunn, B Brooks, R Ellis Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I'm going to tell you about Flynn Tree Services right now. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. And they offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problems that you may face. They're experts at trimming all types of trees, and they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. And we're in that time of year right now. Despite the weather being nice, we could surely get some nasty stuff before this winter's out, right? It's a great time to have your trees evaluated. You go to their Facebook or Instagram page for a sampling of their work or more information. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 2848 or online at FlynnTreeServices.com. That's FlynnTreeServices.com.